Alright, today's video, a demo of my Mightykool MK4 12-volt portable AC. I get questions from pet owners asking me if they have one of these, is it good enough to keep their cat or dog safe in a van or RV while they go hiking, while they run errands. I also get questions from people who do surveillance asking me if this is good enough to keep them cool in a closed up van. You know, you got to keep your windows closed in a surveillance van and not make any noise. So I'm going to do a demo for you guys. Outside temperature right now is about 82 degrees. I wanted to do this on a hotter day, but you know, the forecast for the whole week is about 80s in my area. Temperature of the van right now inside here is about 94. Oh, 95, 94, 95. Yeah, I'm sweating right now. Hot in here, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm in my driveway right now, so I'm trying to simulate a hotter vehicle by just being in my driveway. Of course, you know, if you're parked somewhere, you're gonna, well, if you're doing surveillance, obviously you have to park near wherever you're surveying. But if you're a pet owner, of course you're gonna park your vehicle, you know, in the sun. So, you know, my van's in the driveway right now, so here's the outside temperature right here. I'm gonna pull this out and then I'm gonna close up my van right now. Okay, van's closed up. So here's the setup right now. There's not too much ice in here right now. That's all I had in my freezer, so it's mostly water and, you know, a couple blocks of ice, not too much. Optimal setup, fill this thing with ice. You can see the pump. Right, where's the pump at? It's under there. It's under this container, but here, let me turn it on. Here, let me pull it. So, you want enough water. There's the pump, right there. So you want enough water to submerge the pump, but optimal setup, you want to put just enough water to cover the pump and just fill the cooler full of ice. That's your optimal setup right there. Now let's get a reading. So I put the temperature probe. I put the temperature probe inside the Mightykool so you could get an idea how cool the air is coming out of here. Keep the camera high so you don't get any wind noise. So, where you at? Okay. So, give this a second to calibrate here. I'm going to time-lapse this video, so there you go. Now it's dropping. I don't think I need a time-lapse. I'll give it a couple seconds here to calibrate. Should get a little colder. There you go. Now we're into the 60s. Alright, so this is what I'm going to do for a couple minutes here. I'm going to put, now we're down to 66. I'm going to put this in the hot section of the van, because this is not going to cool the entire vehicle. You're basically, this range is where you're going to feel the temperature. So whenever you use this, like if you use this for surveillance, you want this, you know, you want to be right by the vent. Your pet, you want your pet, excuse me, you want your pet right next to this. So 62 degrees right now. I'm going to put this temperature thermometer in the hot section of the van. I do use sunshades, so you know, keep the van alright, but I'm going to keep the temperature, the thermometer over there, and then this has the probe right here. Check it out. See, I'm already not sweating, so there you go. Give it a couple moments here, give it a few minutes, hang out. Got my computer here. Alright, so I'll give it a couple minutes. So there you go, just leave it right here. You can see that. Okay, it's about 10 minutes later. So I wanted to give it a little time so that thermometer up there could get a good reading on the temperature up front. Like I said, this is not going to cool down the entire vehicle. Your area of coolness is going to be right in front of the vent. So if you do surveillance, be right in front of the vent. If you have pets and you intend on leaving them in your van or RV, make sure they're in a cage right in front of the vent. So they'll be fine this way. I have a water-only model, Mightykool K2, coming up soon. This one runs on water and ice. I wanted to do a demo on this today since this was my first Mightykool model and I get a lot of questions on this. But with ice, you don't need to roll up any windows, or you don't need to roll down any windows. You don't need any ventilation. All the extra condensation is dumping into the cooler. If you run water only, then you want a little ventilation so it doesn't become humid in your vehicle. Optimal setup, fill it up with ice and just enough water to submerge the pump. If you do surveillance or if you intend on leaving your pets in your vehicle for long periods of time, a bigger cooler. This full of ice on a hot day, like really hot day, about 2 to 3 hours. Bigger cooler, you're gonna get longer ice time. But once the ice melts and the water cools down, you're still gonna get about high 60 to mid 70 temperatures. But if you absolutely have to have 50 to low 60 degree temperatures, you gotta go cooler. A big cooler full of ice. That's how to get 50s. So let's go ahead and see what kind of temperatures we have right now. Up front. Alright, so up front, 92.3 degrees. Mightykool temperature is about 58 degrees. About 58, not too bad. It's in the 50s. What more can you ask for? So 58 degrees. And like I said, look, I'm not sweating anymore, sitting right in front of this, so big difference. We got 92 degrees up front, 58 degrees right here, and like I said, there's not much ice in there, just a few blocks, but it's mostly water. So not too bad. Hey, 58 degrees, I could live with that. So any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. So up next, Mightykool K2, that's in the mail. Should get that real soon. And the weather's not too bad. What was it earlier? About 82, 83 outside. It's not too bad. But that's the forecast for me for the whole week. So I went ahead and did this. So it's pretty hot in the van still. 90. It was 95 earlier, 92 up front. I have it in a little shade area there. So still 90s in here. And I was sweating earlier, so hey, there you go. Your pet will be just fine right in front of this thing. Alright, Mightykool K2 next. If you got questions, ask in the comments. I'll make another demo for you guys.